Hello, hello, and welcome to day 13 of 25, raising awareness of mental health. Again, the original challenge was to do 25 of 25, and I thought I'd do 25 days of talking about mental health and raising awareness. And yeah, here we are, day 13. Didn't really have a huge amount planned for today. But the word responsibility has been coming up for me today. And I've got some stuff that I want to sort of share from the past that around responsibility, around some discussions I've had in the past with people. And break it down, really. So what is responsibility? Well, if you break it down, it comes into two words: response and ability. So responsibility for me is being able, having the ability to respond. What does that mean? Well, it means that you have something to do, something to be of, if that makes sense. What I'm trying to get at is that people are looking for a solution, okay? Particularly around mental health. They're looking for an answer. Sometimes there isn't an answer, okay? Sometimes it is what it is. But does that mean we just accept what it is and don't do anything with it? For me, no, it isn't. Responsibility is about taking responsibility for what is happening. If you take responsibility for something, then at least you can have an impact on it. You can change it. If you don't take responsibility, if you absolve yourself from responsibility, say that's nothing to do with me, I can't do anything with that, then there's nothing you can do. You can't actually do anything because you're saying that that thing, whatever it is nothing to do with you. It's happening to you without any intervention from you whatsoever. And I know people have situations in their lives where they feel they are uncontrollable. But even in the worst situations, and I'll go back to Viktor Frankl. I mentioned him maybe day 2 or 3, way back at the beginning. But he wrote a book called what did he write a book? Do you know? Anyway, he was a psychiatrist, psychologist in the Second World War. Was imprisoned because he was a Jew into the prison camps, and he had a huge amount of stuff done to him. Yeah, completely out of his control. His freedom was taken away. He was locked up. He saw people murdered in front of him as part of that thing. He had no control over that whatsoever. But he did have control over how he thought. He took responsibility for his thoughts. He took responsibility of how he perceived what was happening to him and the people around him. And he wrote a book about it. Yeah, so that whatever situation you're in, you have a responsibility to look at that situation and look at what's happening to you and respond to it so that you can create something from that. So what is it you're going to create? Well, on any given day, and again, this is one of those things that we need to, again, constantly talk about. Our mental health fluctuates, good, bad, indifferent, whatever. We're not always upbeat. We're not always down. We have different ebbs and flows. What that means is that on a daily basis, we should check in with ourselves. We should check in. We are responsible for ourselves. We have a responsibility to check how we're feeling on that particular day, how our response levels are. What are we responding like? Are we responding in a responsible way? Are we reacting rather than responding? So being triggered maybe by things around us. And obviously there's nothing political about what I'm going to say now, but there's a lot of stuff happening out there that, for me personally, shows a very poor level of responsibility, personal responsibility, a very poor level of leadership at times. And this isn't any particular one, but there's lots of different situations that you can look at the moment. How does that affect you? Well, on a day-to-day basis, you have people that you're responsible for. Responsible maybe at work, maybe responsible as part of your family. Maybe not personally responsible for your partner, but you're responsible for that relationship, and you're responsible for your responses within that. So how are you responding? What is it you're doing in your relationship with your family, people that look up to you at work, your children maybe? What is it you are displaying? Are you displaying good family leadership? Are you displaying a good partnership with your partner? Are you displaying some skills that other people want to copy? Because in reality, they will be copying you no matter whether you want to or not. Whether you decide that that is a good role model, whether you decide that you are displaying those skills, they are going to copy what you do, not necessarily what you say. So responsibility is about being aware of the effect we have on people around us. Responsibility for our actions. Responsibility of how we feel, how we perceive the world. Remember, we spoke very early on about our perceptions and how that is how we see the world. What we see is how we see the world, our perspective. And you can probably see that I've changed my position today. I've changed the perspective, the view. Okay, what does that do for this presentation? I don't know. Does it do anything at all? But we need to be thinking about what we're portraying, what we're giving off, what we're showing other people. Are we a good role model? If we're not, then take responsibility for that and own it, that what we've done and said is probably not what we want to display. And I'm going to sort of just go back in time now and speak about a few things that some people have said to me in the past, which is quite profound at times. So I was in business with a very lovely lady down in Somerset, and she was very professional doctor, chiropractor. I built up a practice over many, many years, very, very good in business, mentor of mine. And she told me a story about when she was studying to be a chiropractor, and she was studying and running a house and looking after a family, and was complaining to her lecturer about the workload she'd got. She was complaining about things that were happening to her. She was complaining about all the things, and he went, "You are in life exactly where you want to be." And she spluttered and she coughed and remonstrated and argued, and he went, "No, you are in life where you want to be. You're not a tree. If you don't like what's happening to you, then change your perception, change your location, change those things around you. And if you feel that you can't change the things around you, then change how you see those, change how you interact with those things that you can't change, because there's things in our life that we can't change. We just have to accept." And maybe a little bit of spin-off from yesterday, talking about anxiety, where we're constantly worrying about things that we have no control over. So what is the point of worrying? And they're going to happen anyway. Things are going to happen around us without any control, any input from us whatsoever. But we can still look at those things, and we can still make a decision on whether we are going to accept that or follow that, ignore it. Okay. And again, I'm going to sort of just talk about some things I've noticed on the internet. I've noticed on Facebook. Yes, I'm on Facebook. Yes, I dip in with that stuff. And I've noticed that there seems to be a bit of a reactionary movement going on. And what I mean by that is that on some of the groups that I'm on, things like Star Wars fan stuff, things. There's a whole raft of people that feel obliged to give their opinion, and that opinion is probably not based on anything other than the fact that they want to feel noticed. They want to disagree. They want to make a point about something that is probably not even relevant to the situation that's happening at the moment. And the situation is becoming more and more about people wanting to be noticed, wanting to create something when there isn't actually anything there. And I'm not sure whether it's, fallout from the lockdown. People are just bored and they want to sort of chip in. The fact that the internet gives you distance from that sort of person, or you can feel that whatever you say is not going to harm anybody. But actually, if we take control of, the words that we say and think about that, we've already spoken about the negative and positive stuff. Okay, we had the mental health week. What was the strap line for that? Be kind. Be kind to people. And I was always told by my mum, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything in it at all. Just move on. Just leave it. But there seems to be this movement at the moment of having to chip in, having to say something. And we have a responsibility. Okay? And yes, sometimes we feel obliged to give people an opinion of what we feel because, we feel that they're maybe doing the wrong thing. Well, again, we all have an opinion, and not everyone wants to know about yours, okay? But we still feel obliged at times to share our opinion and, trying to change the world. And it's not our responsibility to change the world. Our responsibility is to be the best person that we can be, so that on a daily basis we are working to be the best that we can. And like I said, sometimes, that ebb and flow. Sometimes we're having a really rough day and, the best we can do is get up, have a shower, put some PJs on, make the bed and go back to bed. That's progress. At least we've not wallowed in our bed just in our same PJs and whatever else. Maybe we've done that for a week and we get up. So we've made some progress, but the responsibility lies with us. Responsibility, okay? It's us. There is nobody out there waiting to save you, okay? There is nobody out there. And again, some of the things I'm seeing on the internet, 10 easy ways to well-being. Buy this course and you will instantly feel better. Do this, do that, buy this book and you will instantly have all the money that you'll need. Think your way out of poverty or whatever else. It's not going to work, guys. Yeah. Yes, there's some interesting books out there. Yes, there's some interesting courses out there, but they're not going to give you that instant fix for your situation. We have to take responsibility for our situation, first of all. We have to accept where we are, and then we have to make a plan to move from that situation. It's not going to be solved by any instant fix, by any microwave thinking, as I've mentioned before. So, positive thinking, will not get you out of the hole. Positive thinking will get you to change your perception so that you think of ways to get out of the hole. That makes sense, okay? So just sitting there thinking positive is not going to get you anywhere else than just sitting there. But taking action, taking responsibility for where you are, and making a decision to change where you are, that will get you to move, okay? So, is it Newton's law says that a body at rest will stay at rest and body in motion will stay in motion, okay? So you have to create movement in your life. You're responsible for your life. You might be responsible for other lives, but, you know, on the whole, you've got your own stuff to sort out first, because, believe it or not, they're watching everything you do, particularly children. Yeah, you are a leadership model to some people out there, particularly some people there that work with youth or with other people, work in industry as a leader, etc. People will watch what you do. They will copy what you do as the behavior that is expected of somebody that they want to follow. You're a mentor. You're teaching people. Okay? And think back to some of your behaviors. Do you think that that's something that you want other people to copy? Do you think that you've set a good role model, a good example to people? Have you taken responsibility for your actions and for your behaviors? So yet again, you know, we have to think about what is happening. We have to think. I know, it's a terrible thing, isn't it, thinking? Okay, but remember, right from the beginning, we said about being aware of the voices that we've got going on in our head. We have got voices in there. Okay, we're talking to ourselves constantly. What's the message that we're sending ourselves? What are we saying about ourselves? What is it that we are behaving like because of the voices that say, well, that's the right behavior? Maybe, yeah, taking responsibility for our actions is also taking responsibility for some of those actions that we're no longer going to take action with. We're going to change some of those things. Okay. So, responsibility. A lot of people are out there talking about their rights. Okay, yep, lots of rights. But to be a citizen, and I think I've mentioned it on a couple of sites where I've seen some of the devastation that people invoking their rights to go to the countryside, people invoking their rights to go to the seaside, because, you know, they've got the chance to go there for the day, but they haven't taken responsibility. There's no responsibility there for some people whatsoever. The responsibility has been devolved for other people. They're not taking responsibility for the rubbish. They're not taking responsibility for their actions. They're not taking responsibility for anything else other than, I'm turning up. It's my right to be on the beach because the beach is open. But citizens, yeah, citizens of the world, not necessarily a country, citizens of the world. You have the rights to peace, tranquility, enjoy life, etc. But you also have the responsibility to make sure that you are taking actions, you are behaving in a way that other people will want to follow. And if that is a bad role model, then they will follow, and you have to take responsibility for what actions to them as well as you. Are you willing to take responsibility for some of the actions that people follow you? Because that's what's, you know, literally what we're doing. So responsibility for ourselves. So taking responsibility. So working on ourselves, being responsible, being a perfect citizen for ourselves at the moment. Okay, there's no such thing as perfect, but, you know, we're all a work in progress. But progress, working on ourselves so that we are the best model of ourselves today that we can be. Take responsibility from that. From the moment we get up, are we piloting ourselves through the day with purpose, with goals, with an attitude to help others, so that we can then pass on this responsibility? These skills that we've picked up by focusing on our mindset, you know, being more positive. So maybe if we do have a few bad days and our mental health starts to suffer, yeah, we're anxious about something, we can bring ourselves back out of it, or we can reach out for some help because we're feeling strong enough to do that. Responsibility for looking after ourselves, for being the best that we can be. So, as citizens of the world, I challenge you, and I challenged you yesterday to reach out to some people, to make that connection, so that not just saying, I'm here if you need help, mate, okay? Actually make a connection with somebody and actually send them a text and saying, just thinking, make sure you're okay, just make a connection today. You know, let's keep a regular barrage of texts or making a phone call, whatever. Let's, you know, keep in touch. Okay, make that decision about reaching out there. Take responsibility for communication. Be the responsible one that reaches out to other people. Take responsibility for what's happening in your life. Okay, if it's not ideal, then find out which part of your life is not ideal. Take responsibility for it. Change your attitude about it, and then take some action. Okay. So I hope these days talks that we're doing are raising some awareness. So like I said, we're going to try and balance a bit of gnarly stuff with a bit of positive stuff, discussions, thought processes, thinking about stuff. Today's been more about a prod in the ribs and a think about what we're doing. So sometimes we all need a prod in the ribs. I'll mention again, I mentioned it yesterday, at the weekend, we're going to be raising the subject of suicide. So probably on Saturday. So I'm giving you fair warning, okay, that is coming up. Okay, so if it's something you'd want to skip out, yeah, not a problem at all. Okay, but again, it's one of those subjects that is not talked about freely enough. So when people do end their life, do take their life, people do complete suicide, then it's not discussed. It's not felt comfortable talking about it. It's brushed under the carpet. What we need to do is make it more aware, make it more public knowledge, discussion piece, so that we can find out more about it and hopefully prevent some of it happening. Reaching out to people is probably the best thing that we can do. Okay, so pancakes tonight for tea. We've had an indulgent lunch, so no barbecue today because it's a bit grey and murky in Wales. And we're going to have pancakes, going to indulge ourselves in some pancakes. So be nice to each other, be kind, reach out, make a connection with somebody, take responsibility for communication, reach out, make a connection, feel the love. All right, see you tomorrow, guys.